I'm gonna just come around to where you be at because I'll be outside. So I'm gonna just come around to where you be at and let you know. You should be watching Philly service announcement every Tuesday, 5 p.m. on Glockaway Radio. It's love, support, grace. Hold up. Let me allow these black people to know that we don't do no grand entrances. Sit y'all behinds down. Okay, okay. And also, we don't introduce anybody on the show, and we say the same thing all the time. Nobody can introduce you like you can introduce yourself, because I'm not trying to be getting in no issues with black folk for messing up their names and leaving some titles out and all that.
That's what I was getting ready to say. You just don't want to say my name wrong.
Your name is Kirsten.
Yes, black man. That's why I love you.
Yes. And I'll be banging them Jones up. But I got hers, you know what I mean? Because I was already prepared. I kind of felt like that was going to happen. So, let me tell y'all what it is first. Love, support, grace, social activism, resources, art. That's what we doing out here. So, y'all going to see me say this every week. So, I'm going to let them do what they do because I'm going to run my mouth. So, who wants to, is the queen going to go first and allow us to know?
I'll hold it down at the end.
Okay. All right, so first, pull y'all mics up. Pull y'all mics up to y'all face so we can make sure we hear everything. So Brother King, let them know who you are. Man.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Kofi Atiba Kwesi. I am the president of Revolutionary Vision.
That's it? You don't got more? You got more titles than that. You got some more stuff going on.
Man. Listen, we ain't got that much time.
All right.
I'll give you one more.
Give me one more.
I'm also the president of the West Philly Voting Bloc. Okay.
All right. Before we get to the queen, allow us to know what that is. I need people to be clear about what is that.
Okay.
Because it's important.
Revolutionary Vision is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We run a community service center at 6143 Lansdowne Avenue in West Philly, and we do everything from A to Z. Mm-hmm. And what we don't do, we assign you to somebody who does it and does it well.
Right.
That's our motto. We don't send you nowhere where you get no nonsense. If you come to us, we want to do the best we can for you. Mm-hmm. The West Philly Voting Bloc is a 501c4. It is a political PAC, and what we're seeking to do with that is to build political strength and economic independence in our community. I follow behind the practice of Philly 3.0. I was told by one of the lawyers that's a part of the West Philly Voting Bloc that I need to read up on them. As much as we say we dislike them, I learned a lot from them. They use their 501c3 to do community things, to be able to get into our community and develop things. And then they use their political PAC, their C4, to change the landscape as far as our political representatives. And they use that to be able to frighten a lot of our representatives. So we have to be able to counter that. And we need a sword for a sword, and we need a hammer for a hammer, because all that other stuff we've been doing seems to leave us in the lurch. And I'm a little sick of that.
So before again, I gotta keep saying that because she ready. The queen is ready. I talked to this. I talked to this sister on, and she be ready. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all. I
keep looking at her.
And it be on point. But I talked to the sister, and she be ready. So one more thing I want to ask you before. What social? Matter of fact, you probably don't even know. I probably need to talk to her. I'm gonna get on off of you, cause she gonna know everything I need to know from here.
Thank you very much. That way I can't go home tonight and go to work tomorrow morning.
No pressure.
So tell us who you are, and then give us all the social media platforms, all that good stuff. Brick and mortar. He did give me the brick and mortar, but we need everything. Yeah. We need it so they can get right at you.
Okay, awesome. So I am Kirsten Britt. I am the Director of Operations at Revolutionary Vision. That's one of my titles. Mm-hmm. I came on. I'm one of the newer members of Revolutionary Vision.
Can't tell.
All the reasons that you've heard, just an opportunity to be in the community doing what needs to be done, right? Mm-hmm. So you hear a lot of people talk about stuff, and then you see people do it.
Yeah.
So I want to connect with the people that are already doing the work. Duplication isn't. We don't need to keep duplicating efforts, right? So that's part of the issue that we have in our communities is because everybody, I'm about to go start my own 501c3. Why? Because people over there, that 501c3 already need help.
Yep.
So, like, if we start collaborating, we'll be more effective and have more impact in our own communities.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm over there for that. On the for-profit side, I have Inspired Me to Change, and a brand under that is Girl Genius. And so my whole goal with Girl Genius is to motivate, educate, and empower Black women in the spaces that they are. So for me, I struggled with finding my girl genius. So let me back up. I didn't struggle with finding my girl genius. I knew my girl genius. But the community around me didn't understand my girl genius. So they made me feel like, wow, she crazy. She all over the place. She doing too much. So, you feel me, right? All right. So, because that is our story, right? So people are always telling this group of Black women, like, oh, you doing a lot. Like, you doing the most. You can't do everything. But you do have an expectation that I do everything at the same time. So you tell me I can't, but you tell me too at the same time. And so we get very... in these places of, so I need to have this one job. I need to be focused on this one thing. But my heart says I should be doing this, and I could do this too, and I could do that if I want to. Right. And Girl Genius is about giving back permission to Black women to say you can. You can walk in your genius, whatever it looks like. Own that thing. Walk in it heavy. Right. And so that's where I'm at. Like, I had to give myself permission, and sometimes it's just about that. Like, you're just waiting for the permission. Somebody say it's okay. It's okay to be me. I needed a platform where I could be Kirsten. So now on Sunday I became a licentiate, which means I'm beginning the process of being ordained as a minister, as a pastor. And so I could be the spiritual Kirsten. I could be the get with you Kirsten. I could be the coach Kirsten. I could be all of these people in this one space. I didn't have to just put on this hat for this thing and this hat for that thing. No like, doubt. This me. This my girl genius walking that. Right. So that's girl genius.
Okay. I met no, I ain't gonna take none of her. We gonna let her get her own time. Because when y'all meet D Jackson.
There you go. So
she is she say go too. Like, you think you could see a little bit of her say go, you see the hands. You know what I mean? But when you meet her daughter,
she be on a
but this is the thing, it's not scattered.
And that's
because I've been around people that be but it be scattered
everywhere. Yeah.
Hers is right to what we talking about, but I just got 1,000 questions about what we talking about. And by the time the questions end, I got 1,000 ideas, and we need to make something happen.
But that's what it's about.
What I like about this.
Can I finish my one? My intro.
Oh, you still in your intro? Go, baby, go. I don't want no trouble.
You shortened yours. I didn't say I was going.
No, I actually shortened it, but we're going to get back to him.
So that's okay. I'm going to say my last thing that I wanted to say.
Go,
I'm also, so I'm a community activist, right? So I do a lot of things in the community, whether it's through my church, whether it's through this, whether it's through whatever. But I'm also the president of the advisory council for Sayre Rec Center. Okay. And so that's one of the things I know that I'm going to definitely light up this conversation about a little bit. But that has opened up a door for a lot of work. Right. Something that's become particularly dear to my heart recently. So we'll talk about that.
No, we'll talk about it. So now I met this brother through Monique at Overall Training, and it seemed like certain people be like a lot of like dope people, interesting people, strong people that hover around these certain people. You know, I'm a person that believe in energy. You know what I'm saying? So she's a very strong person. So meeting you. And she the one that told me, like, you need to talk to him. You need to talk to him. You need to have him on the show. You need to have him on the show. And I was like, whenever somebody be like that about another person and not themselves, it makes me want to kind of, like, talk to this person. Because what is it about this person that makes you keep talking about him? Like, yo, you should talk to him. Yo, and you a strong person in and of yourself. You know, you're not a yes person. You're not somebody that's trying to find somebody to link on to pull you up. Not that that's a wrong thing. Because we do need to find people that'll help pull us up.
That's right.
Now, the way that we say it from time to time, that's why I said, and I be saying it a lot, like, I'm Joe. Whatever Joe is, I'm especially like that with black folk. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't mind. You're not going to make me feel like, and I've been through all the shit.
Right.
And I'm with all the shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm Joe because I love my folks, and we got to start being Joe with each other again. We got to start just saying hi to black folk and loving on black folk just because.
Speaking
You
to
know
each
what I'm
other in the
saying?
morning. that's
Exactly,
right. Good
exactly.
morning. Good morning. I don't have to know you. Good morning. You're a person. That's
Right.
Exactly.
So
That's right.
I say all that to say, like, one of the things that I understand and I have understood is that people who got things going on and they got their own presence, when they tell me about other folks, and they be adamant about it, because that's another part about it. Like, yo, did you talk to so-and-so yet? Yo, did y'all get together? What happened? How did, you know what I'm saying? So, since she was like that about you, you know, this was going to happen. We couldn't get together at the time, but things happen how they supposed to happen.
Yes,
You
they
know what
did.
I'm saying?
Yes,
So,
they did.
I want to know, because we got similar experiences. I want to know when you came home, and I don't usually get into a lot of people's business, but again, we got similar experiences, and I know we use that as a part of our story, testimony, whatever you want to say, to make change.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was it for you when you came home that was like, yo, I got to do something different? You know what I'm saying?
It was way before I came home.
Okay.
Way before I came home. I started this when I was incarcerated in New Jersey.
Mhm.
When I got to New Jersey, I was a little older. I had a little time I had time to do, and my attitude was like, you know, I wanted to hear from the elders, because when I was in the fort and other places, I saw people that I remember when I was a little kid. They were the same people. I mean, this was 10, 15 years later. They walked the same, they talked the same, but they had to say it. And I had one of the elders tell me one day, he said, man, listen, being incarcerated is like being a drug addict. Wherever you started at, that's where you stay at. Unless you purposely move yourself forward, you don't mature, you don't grow. Mm-hmm. And I saw that in these different places I went. So by the time I got to Jersey, and Jersey is a little different than, you know, people talk about Jersey, but Jersey, it's a little different than being in Pennsylvania, especially being in Philly, Newark and East Orange and like that. They are a lot more revolutionary, progressive. So I met brothers in there, and I had, like I said in my story, you know, I had a brother tell me, man, if you want to do something different when you get out of here, you got to learn something different. You can't go home knowing the same stuff, because you can't do nothing but that. And so I was playing basketball one day when the brother told me, he said, you in here for something you didn't do, and you got time to play basketball and cards and all. And I thought about that all week long, man. It weighed on me. And I stopped doing all of that. And I decided that I was going to, and I was in Trenton at the time, and Trenton is a super max. You locked up 22 hours a day in the cell. And in the cell I was in was the old side of the jail, where I could touch both of the walls and the ceiling. All right? That's how I got, you know, that's how you get down over there. And my thing was, I'm gonna learn everything I can, because I don't know what I'm gonna need when I get out of here. All right. So I took every trade they offered. I got a culinary arts. I became a certified paralegal. You know, I learned how to do offset printing. All right. You name it. Right. Atiba was on it. All right. Right. And I started working in the law library, and I started being around brothers who were into the law, older brothers who was into the law. And I was around brothers who was telling me that I needed to get into my health and into my spirit. They said, because you got something, and when you get out of here, you need to utilize it. But I stayed in trouble, because I was always on the paper, man, I don't like this, I don't like that. But what affected me was watching all of these young brothers come in. They were younger and younger with more and more time. And in Trenton, 85 to 80, 90% of the people that's doing time there have life for better. And when I used to say that, people just say better. I said, yeah, double life, 100 to 200 years, triple plus life plus, triple life plus 100 years.
Like when they putting it together, you just be wondering, like, for real though? Like when y'all was writing this on paper, somebody should have just looked at the paper. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
We doing too much right now. But they be serious.
And you 17 or 16 when they telling you this.
They in there, I'm gonna let y'all know this too. And they in there calculating it up. This how much they don't care on some real. That you looking at this paper and you seeing all of this, right? And you at somebody that's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And I would think you would want to have compassion for people even older. You just want to have compassion for people, period, and just kind of understand situations. Not saying that it shouldn't be no restorative measures that happens after something happens.
Listen.
Not saying that, but my thing is, like, you don't see no humanity. Like, you know, you dealing with a 17-year-old and you looking at this and y'all back there having a serious conversation about 120 years plus life. And they probably be like, well, we might as well give him double life for this. And then give him the 10 and the 20 and then the 5 years for the gun. Like, all of this. And nobody be like, hold up. This person 18. Should we look at this case again? Like,
And that was the deal. And 100 years life without parole plus 100 years was the deal they gave you. So, to keep you from sitting on death row or something. And then when you go in, the question they ask you that really made me sit up and say, wait a minute, I got to do something, was they say, where do you want your remain sentence? Mm-hmm. And you look at the person and you say, excuse me? And they say, you heard me, where do you want your remain sentence? Everybody don't leave here like they came. Yeah. That's what they take. So you got to fill that out. I want to my mother, to my wife, where you want your body sent if you don't make it through here? That's the question they ask you when you're sitting there. So after they done told you, yeah, this is what you're doing. So that's what all of these things brought me to a reality that what I was doing was not what I need to be doing.
Right.
My grandmother used to tell me things when I was little, like, live on your feet. Live on your feet. Don't die on your knees. Mm-hmm. She used to tell me, don't allow these people to turn you into a slave again. And I didn't understand that until I understood the 13th Amendment. Mm-hmm. So when I was in the hole, and I stayed in the hole for something, because I was always into something, because I was trying to push the envelope. Mm-hmm. My grandma used to come and visit me. Literally, I'd be sitting in there, and I don't know whether I was woke or asleep, truly, but my grandma would be talking to me. She'd be in the cell talking to me. And she would tell me, I told you, do you understand now? You got to change. You got to change this. You got to do that. You got to go out here. You got to love people. You got to look out for the seniors. You got to take care of the babies. You have that in you. Do it. The Lord. And then I heard a woman on the radio say, she talked about footsteps. I had never really listened to it. And she talked about when God carries you, because you can't make it through. And that's that one set of footprints when you always thought it was just you. And all that stuff started sinking in. And then I was ready, and I started doing things. We created an organization when I was in Trenton called And Justice for All. Go back to the New York Times in 2000, and you'll see pictures of me. You'll see articles about us. We sued the state of New Jersey for everything from an AIDS unit where they was letting brothers just die in their cell with no treatment, to having women in the hole in Trenton State Prison, which is a male prison, and not providing them with legal access to law books and stuff. They were denying them. So we sued the prison for all that. And then I personally sued Christy Whitman, who was the governor at the time. And that's what put me on my path. And I call myself, because people say it's easier to take, I call myself a community activist. But in my heart, I'm a revolutionary. Right. And that's why we named our organization Revolutionary Vision. Right. There's nothing wrong with we need a revolution in our thinking and in our spirit in order for us to change our condition, because everything that is negative, we first in line in this country.
Mm-hmm. It's like, for me, when you say that, because like I said, we got a similar story. I did 20 years uninterrupted. And my thing was, all right, I had all of these things circled around me before I came in jail. And I started doing stuff very early, like 13, but not really because it was like I was forced out of my house. Because I wasn't but we didn't have everything. We was poor. But it's like I didn't have a situation that was so unstable that I had to be in the street. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But trying to figure out what it is to be a man, and it's all women in the crib, is like, I need to figure this out here. And I'm being looked at to be a lot of different things. Like, you the biggest person in the family. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You one of the smartest people in the family. I'm the smartest person in my family. I don't even know why I said you. I am. Y'all know. So anyway, so that comes with a certain amount of shit that you got to do for your family. If you're gonna be the smart one, then you got to cash in on that. Basis. You feel what I'm saying?
All day, every day.
Right. You big. You like to play a lot of sports. You need to cash in on that. You feel what I'm saying? So anyway, I had to figure it out on my own. And that's where the problem started coming. But when I went to prison, the one thing I was trying to find out was like, what am I supposed to be doing? Mm. I know what everybody expects of me, and I feel like I got that in me, but what am I supposed to be doing? So identity became my thing. Like, I had a little understanding of what it was to be black, because my mom used to just say stuff like, don't trust white people. You know what I mean? Like, that was one of our things. Don't trust them. Like, I can't really give you a lot of detailed history and all that. But her experience was, and the people that she grew up around and that orientated her was,
don't trust them.
You can't trust them. Mm-hmm. So I know for a fact that didn't come out of thin air. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She didn't give me all the details and all the people and all the incidents and all of that. but I know it didn't come out of thin air. You know what I'm saying? So when I got to prison, it was kind of like, all right, I'm seeing all these white people. They locking all the doors. They got all the suits on. They making all the decisions. I know I ain't this horrible dude. I did some shit, you know, because I went to jail for attempted murder. You feel what I'm saying? So it just was like, hold up, something ain't adding up. Like, I'm really not this type of guy that they telling me. Like, I did these things, but it was reasons for them in my head. Like, it was reasons that I was supposed to do these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we in the street, it's reasons that you supposed to do these things, and I thought that made sense.
There's a law that an unwritten law that we live by that they don't understand.
And I wanted to understand, like, why did we have this? Why was it parallel laws going on? Why was it parallel lives? And I ain't even really never even live around the white folks. I never even really experienced like direct racism except for maybe being down South Philly and the dog only bark at the black people that walk by. And as a kid, you curious, but you don't know the system that creates the mindset that would train their dog only to bark at black people. I didn't understand that at 9 or 10. I just knew it was, you know what I mean? And I used to be told about fighting white boys up Snyder Avenue and not being able to come past 8th and Snyder. And every neighborhood had this story about these white folks that lived in proximity that we had to go through something.
63rd Street in West Philly.
So these is the questions when I was in the penitentiary, because I wasn't, you know, I had been to college. And so I'm asking questions that I noticed that my brothers ain't asking because they only got to certain levels. And I started to understand that those certain levels was predetermined. That a certain amount of y'all only gonna make it to 8th grade. And we did a conference about that. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that's the thing. Because I like to say this on the show too. Whenever white folks is having conferences, y'all better be mindful because shit get fucked up after the conference. The Nicene conference, the Mohawk conference, I can go on and on. The Council of Benin and like, just look up white folks in council. Just way back. You can go back to the Greek times. Whenever they have councils, shit about to get crazy. And
it get crazy for us first. First.
But I say all that to say, man, I be wanting people to understand these stories because it's so many of us that's coming through the penitentiaries. And I want people to understand that it's not what you see on TV. It's not what these young boys is rapping about. And you really got to talk to cats from different places that been in different penitentiaries that understand this was my level. This was my level. Because that can help young boys change out here. That when I got to this point, I started wanting something different. You know, me, it was identity. And once I started reading about us, it was like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm gonna let the sister have the rest of it with you. What you just said is right on point. 2 things. Today, I always talk about, whenever I'm speaking to the public, I'm always talking about being raised and being forged. Our leaders, so many of them have been forged. Malcolm X, Nat Turner, I consider myself to be forged, okay? I don't know how much a leader I am. I know I work in my community for the betterment of my community to do all I can. But when I look at the people that I admire, they are leaders that were forged, most of them. They came through the nonsense. They came through the prison. They came through the slavery. Frederick Douglass, people like that who went through it in order to get where they were at. And then you have those who are raised, Martin Luther King, Barack Obama, a lot of our politicians. These people who were, whether you like them or not, they were raised in leadership. It ain't about what we like, it's about the reality. And my thing is, so many of us who have been forged, who criticize those who have been raised and say, you know, don't have mistrust of them, it's time for us to begin to raise, not allow us to be forged, like we see all them people going into prison. Take these young boys and these young girls and raise them. Put them up under you, bring them into these organizations, talk to their parents and get permission to have them around and treat them like you love them. Show them that. Because that's what's missing for a lot of them. It's about they don't know what it is to be loved. They've been fighting their whole life. That I want to say. And I also want to say that in this day and time, allow us to bring unity between us. You know, like the sister was saying, we have all these organizations, and people. The first thing people tell me is, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to fit in. I don't know how to get started. I don't know what to do. Sit down, look around. You got all these things happening around you. Start to visit places, churches, mosques, organizations, whatever, and see where you fit in. See where you comfortable. You go somewhere and you comfortable, start working there. Begin there. Because like she said, we keep creating all these things and nothing is really working for us. Because now we all chasing the same money. Some of us chasing the same fame. You know, all of that kind of stuff. That's why it's revolutionary vision. We created that center so that anybody that have a dream can come there. And if you talk about you want to put in the work to make your dream come true, make it happen. We here to help you. I love this sister because when we met each other, I was called up by a brother, a mutual friend, and he said, listen, man, you know, you think you Nat Turner. All right. Well, I know Harriet Tubman. And she said, I know Harriet Tubman. I'm gonna I want y'all to meet.
I love that.
And when we met, we've been rolling ever since.
Oh, that's dope.
Go ahead. I wanted to say something about the forged and the raised. I think that one of the things that when you talk about unity, the unity between the forged and the raised, right? So between the Malcolms and the Martins, that is important to raise another generation. We have to bring together the forged and the raised, right? Because you bring an experience that I don't have. So y'all sitting here having a whole conversation. I'm like, I'm listening and I'm learning, right? And I'll bring a different perspective because I lived a different life. Right. Not just because I'm a female, but because I was raised in this leadership. I wasn't forged in it in the way that you were forged in it. And I'm glad that's not my story. I don't need it to be my story to do what God has called me to do. But in order to completely do what God has called me to do, I need to partner with those who that is your story, right? Because this isn't about me. So if my job is here to mentor this young person, they need to know what you've been through, right? To avoid that.
Right.
They need to see it's possible to not even go that way. My story, right? So the combination of those things gives them insight and wisdom on how to make the next move for themselves. Like we have to be able to bring these pieces together and not just see it like, oh, you over there, you got your thing, you do your thing, I'm doing my thing. No, we only have one thing. Like that's it. That's the problem. Like the division, divide and conquer. That's the problem.
And that's a big thing for me because with the organizations, one of the things that I used to say when I was upstate, like, yo, I'm going to try to attach myself to organizations or people or movements that's already doing it because why do I have to create? I could just bolster what you're doing. And I'm big on collaboration. It's like, yo, we need to be collaborating all over the place on all different levels. You know what I'm saying? So I'm real big on that. And I used to say that to myself, like, why would I try to create? Why do I need to? Create something that I know our people are already doing. I'm just going to bring more organization, more discipline, more fresh ideas, just to bolster what we are. Just add more workforce. Just more. If you need more labor, if you need another body, instead of me creating a whole nother organization and having all of the issues. Everybody want to be famous. I got to be the most famous hairdresser. I got to be the most famous barber. I got to be the most famous landscaper. I got to be so. Me creating my joint is doing that. Now we trying to compete for fame. Then we got the whole thing where we competing for dollars, where we would get more money together. Because we not gonna be able to do what we need to do. Where it's you going into every room and you bringing the quote unquote competition up. Because I notice a lot of people that do what we do got organizations, and you're bringing up your competition for what? For what? But really, y'all could be working together and y'all both be in the same room at the same time with two heads, two ideas, two different life paths that can get everything that you need because y'all covering all the bases. Exactly. You feel what I'm saying? And then it's the other thing of for me of capitalism. Everybody is so many opportunists and capitalists, and that creates another division that we talking about because you got some people who it's in their heart. And then you got some people is like, I just know how to do a job and I can make money from it. You feel what I'm saying? And those people can be utilized, but I don't feel like they can lead.
Right.
They can be a part of the organization. Those people who are very pragmatic, very just like, yo, everything is dollars and cents or everything is the numbers. I don't even really consider the people. I don't really care about the whole, I just like doing a job. Those people are needed, but you have to have them in a role. They can't lead. We can't be doing this together because your heart not in it. You are a tool to be used healthily, as my brother would say, to be used healthily in this organization to make it go. you can't lead, and I'm not gonna compete with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that you were talking about, you raised a good question that I think people don't often ask themselves, like, why do I need?
Mm-hmm.
So why do I need to start an organization? Is it because the thing isn't being done, or because I think I can do it better?
Mm.
Is it because I need to get money and I don't want to share with anybody? Is it because my ego too big to collaborate and compromise and allow someone else to lead? Like, why do I need?
Right.
And like, is this because this is what God has given me? And even with what God has given me, did he say it's only me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might be my season to lead right now. It might be your season to lead a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're working together, like you said, these things, how much more could we actually do if we brought all the pieces of
Exactly.
brought all the pieces to the table? It's
And
like,
we can help groom each other to lead. When you said that, like, I'm big on seasons with everything. Everything has a season.
Without doubt.
Everything has a season. And the thing for me is to try to understand when you in the season, because you can, and just maximize it for as much benefit as possible. If you whatever your thing is, you know, my thing is people. Like, people be like, yo, you run around all day. Well, particularly black folk. But people say you run around all day, you gonna burn out. But one of the reasons why I don't feel like I'm a burnout, even though I do have to take care of myself because I love what I do.
Exactly.
It's not a stress. Like, when people be like, I know that I take on other people's traumas and all that. And one of the things that I have been blessed with is the fact that I'm a, like, people be saying like an empath and all that. Like, I'm very empathetic to people, but in particularly black folks. So I don't look at it as like, I know it's happening, but I don't look at it as I'm taking on a trauma that's going to trigger me in another area, or I'm going to be so down because of you didn't have housing and I'm trying to find you housing and we going through. I'm going to think about it, but I'm going to consistently be thinking about it from a strategic aspect. Like, how do I get you? My emotions don't come out until you get it solved. When we get it solved, everything before that is just the process, and I'm good with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The crying, the you not answering your phone, me not answering my phone, you blaming me, I'm blaming you. Well, you came to me for help. Like, you know?
Van, I gotta argue with you to help them,
right. And I know you gotta do that with our folks. So it's one of those things where, you know, certain things is built into this. You know what I mean? And I think that's the reason why I'm able to deal with it. And then being in prison, you know what I mean? Prison, because I made it so, has helped me in a lot of different ways to deal. Now, it confused me on some stuff when I came home. It did, especially because I didn't get to deal with them every day, all day. So it was like, what do you want? I always tell the same story. Like, I'm doing everything you asking me to do.
They don't have nothing to do with prison. You could have stayed out and you still had the same.
Yeah, Lord. I'm glad she said it, because I was sitting here thinking, man, that ain't got nothing to do with prison.
Listen, my man told me, my brother Miles, I'm gonna have to holler at my brother. We gonna holler, we gonna rap. But he was like, listen, I know you. You're a different type of brother. Like, you really are. You a different. But he said this man-woman thing been going on way before you, and you not exempt. Right. You are not exempt to all that's going to come of this man-woman thing that goes on. And he wasn't lying.
Mars and Venus.
He was not
Mars and Venus.
But one of the things that I tell people about that all the time, I just be like, I had to realize I had all of these ideas in my head about black women, like, not all of the negative shit that you would think. It was like, yo, I'm gonna find me a queen. I love my sisters. I had black women tell me at the fort, like, you gonna get your heart broke out there. You all on this, you respect us and all that stuff. And it was kind of joke, but she was serious. You know what I mean? She was like, no, I love it, but they ain't ready for it out there like that no more. Like, we ain't, not saying every woman, but you gonna run into a lot of women that's kind of like, either they gonna think it's game, or they gonna self-sabotage because it's like, yo, I don't know how to deal with that. What you doing right there, I don't, because you putting me under pressure now. I'm used to these boys acting a certain type of way. Acting a fool. Right. And I'm accustomed with that because I started, y'all got a defense mechanism. Act a fool back.
I've been in a relationship.
Wait. Slow down.
8 years, my longest relationship, bro.
Wait. Rewind the tape.
Go ahead. Rewind the tape.
Him just said. Him just said. Did we act a fool back?
I ain't in that. I ain't said nothing.
Listen.
I gotta go home with her.
No, that ain't my defense mechanism. I'm just saying, we the brothers haven't been holding up their end of the bargain for reasons.
Say that part though.
For reasons that I understand.
You understand why they not holding up their end?
Yeah, I do. I mean,
Right.
I mean, we could talk about the men from Venus, women. I mean, women from Venus, men from Mars. But the deeper thing is, we don't really know how to have relationships as black folk. No relationships, and I'm gonna tell you why.
No, I'm with you.
Right, and I'm gonna tell you why. Well, one of the reasons, but the main reason, because what a relationship was so convoluted and tricked up with us coming out of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
What a relationship looked like, man to woman, woman to child, all that was tricked up by all the different ways that they infused themselves into our relationships. Mm-hmm. So you do have a husband that you sleep with, but then you got master. You understand what I'm saying? You do have a certain amount of control over your children, but then you have master. You do have people that you consider family and friend on a plantation, but then you got master telling you, that can't be your friend. That's not really your husband. Those aren't really your kids, because I control all of this. Mm-hmm. So at every point, you had those points where, depending on if a child felt favored by master, mom couldn't say nothing. And a child is going to play on that. They don't know that.
But let's bring it forward to the 60s when they started talking about welfare checks and you can't get a check to take care of the children if you got a man in your home. Okay? Massa, that ain't really yours. These ain't really yours. It's the same concept. And see, we don't want to talk about that.
Not saying that children should be abused, because I don't, but it's two ways to look at that too.
What do you call abuse?
One, I'm just, exactly, but one, corporal punishment is something that comes from that. So now we got a bet, and I come from getting my behind whooped, and my mom wasn't abusive.
But
in
why
the way
is black
that she
people
did
the only
it.
one that says, and this always bothered me, I know no other ethnic group on this earth that the parents said, child, I'm gonna whip you. That came from slavery.
Right. And it's the switch, all of that good stuff. So again, these are things that affect the relationships on how you treat your children, and it come from long history. So I really know that now we just starting to get enough information and identity and knowing what social patterns even are to see, oh, I'm doing something that my mom and them was doing that wasn't really working, but I was just doing it because they've been doing it for 4 generations. Great grandmom was saying it, and grandmom and mom, you know what I'm saying? And now we just starting to figure out, we got to redefine what is parenthood. Because the other thing about the state and master, he's put so many different places, so many different things in the place to take you away from being a parent to your child, whether in school, with DHS, with the criminal justice system, however you want to look at it, with medication. We're allowing parents to relinquish their children. If you get, oh, he too wild. And I know in certain situations, it's like, yo, sis, she by herself. But the answer ain't the court. The answer is me and you, the other neighbors on the block. Why is it that we can't go to each other and be like, yo, I'm in here by myself. My son just turned 12. He turning 13. I'm starting to see some different things. Rue, can you holler at him? Atiba, can you take him to the basketball? You know what I'm saying?
It takes a village. Right. It takes a village. That's where that saying came from.
But they've created an environment that allows us to medicate our kids. If they get too wild, you can relinquish them to the state. You can let DHS come and take them. You know, you get into the custody court and do this and say you fought for yours. No, you didn't. You knew his mom and dad was going to be able to help him take care of them kids, and you just was like, all right, I'm going to back off. They are giving us ways to give up our children, and then we start reflecting that with a lot of stuff that's going on now. Oh, them kids is dog, they bad, they this, they that, they wild. These young boys is wild. Y'all talking about them like it's a different class of people, like it's a different group of people that's out here, and it's not. It's your nephew, it's your little brother, it's your little cousin. You know what I'm saying? They not a group of people that you don't know. You know him. You know that wild young boy talking about he a demon. You know him.
There used to be a time when we showed our children that we loved and respect them. I mean, I watched things happen. Something simple as when I'm driving down the street, and people are getting off of the bus or the trolley. People want to, you're supposed to stop. You ain't supposed to go past things. People don't respect that. Children, when you go in the school zone, it tells you, slow down to 15 miles an hour. How many of us do that? How many people, I be driving, I be looking at folk, but I go up City Line Avenue and up Henry Avenue, The white folks slow down.
They be driving 2 miles an hour,
That's
so
right,
everybody's
through the school zone.
No
We
doubt.
don't even do that. So we don't show the kids any respect, but we expect that they supposed to have learned this. They supposed to have this, and I disagree with all of that.
Nah, and I want to get to the pool party because we gonna all try to be. Yeah, we gonna try to be at the pool party. We gonna take a pool. Yeah, we are. Don't worry about it. Y'all don't need to know who I'm talking about. She knows who I'm talking to. Carlita is back off of vacation, y'all.
Yes.
She left me, and it wasn't fair.
Great vacay.
It wasn't fair, but I'm glad. I feel like her skin is already beautiful, but she got like a little John from the sun and all that. I said, okay. It's like, but I don't want to leave this part out because we need to go to the pool party. Swimming in the summertime is very, very important. I grew up, no matter what part of the city that I lived in, swimming. Whether it be King Sesson, whether it be the park on 7th and Snyder, what was another? We used to go up Myers. Like any place where I was at, we went swimming. We used to go down the lakes. So I don't see how swimming in the summertime is not, and especially since people ain't really been outside in 2 years. In 2 years. But before we get to that, I do want to bolster my brother's point. A lot of what we be saying about our folks, a lot of times people try to automatically be like, y'all complaining. Why y'all? But y'all don't be listening to the solution. A lot of times when people be explaining what the gripe is, they tell you what the solution is in the gripe. If you want to call it a gripe or a complaint or being critical of something, you know what I'm saying? When you said we need to be more caring to our children again. We need to be more caring to each other. Like, that's a basic job, but it's a solution. So one of the things that I like to do, that I try to do, is I've been meeting a lot of brothers, young brothers lately. And it be on a time like, usually I'm high security boy. Where you from? Where you be at? Who you for? You know what I mean? I'm heavy with that. Like, I need to know who he is. You don't need to know where I live at. You don't necessarily know what car. But now I'll be looking at it like, I'll take a risk to be my brother's brother, to be my sister's brother. I'll take a risk of maybe you being a snake because I've took risk for less.
There you go.
You feel what I'm saying?
Put my life on the line.
I put my life on the line for less. So now I'll take a risk and put my security down to collaborate with my brother or my sister, or just be friend of my brother or my sister. Whereas though before that was an issue, and I think that's one of the things we need to get back to. We need to get back
to do. So I want to say something to that. So I was at a community meeting last week, and they were, talking about trying to figure out solutions. And I said sometimes it's just as simple as saying hello. Like, everybody wants to be seen, right? So a lot of these young guys out here, nobody sees them but the other guys on the street. So we walk by them, we go in the store, we make sure we don't make eye contact, right? Because I don't want you to even look, because if you look at me, you might have stole something, right? While you was looking. You might shoot me. But how likely, I said the reason why they can easily rob you and they can easily shoot you is because that relationship doesn't exist. So we've dehumanized the whole situation. So you just whatever to me. But how much more likely would I be to pass you by if I actually knew who you were? Right. Like, if I knew, that's Miss whoever, that's Mr. Such and Such, he cool, old head, you know what I mean? He a cool OG. Like, leave him alone. Don't.
The thing they be trying to say is, Joe, if you came into the store, I do it all the time. Like, I really do be all over the city, all times of the night at Chinese stores. And I don't just be doing stuff just to be reckless, because I'm not a reckless person. But it's too late in the game for me to be scared of my people. Exactly. Just for me. It's too late in the game for me to be scared of black folk. After all the shit that I done been through, you know what I'm saying? All the shit that I done did, you know what I mean? Like, it's too late for me to be scared of black folk that I don't know. And at some point, I really do want to help them get an understanding. So I'm going to walk in the Chinese store 2 a.m. and be like, what's up with y'all? What's up, youngin'? Head nod, that's the, and I want to bring that up too. The head nod, my daughter just brought, and I want y'all to say something before we talk about the pool party, because we got to talk about the pool party. My daughter said that because we went to the Roots picnic. I had a great time with my daughter. It was dope. The whole joint was dope. It was my first time going. I'm definitely going back. I need to go with the squad. I need to do everything with that. So And, you know, I need to do a lot with the Roots picnic. And I'm a big Roots fan. So, anyway, my daughter was like, what is the thing that black women do? Like, women don't have a thing because black men do that wherever. Like
that.
It's universal. We do it. And white men don't do it. Latino men don't. That's Asian men don't really do it unless they imitating us. And that's real shit. You'll see they whole dress code when they not black men and they do this. You'll see a difference. Like, oh yeah,
right.
He been following us. Well, my daughter said what black women do, because her and her sister was trying to figure out, well, what is it that? And she was like, black women smile at each other.
Or say
Yeah. But no, she was really talking about like a non-verbal thing that, you know what I mean? Because black men don't smile at each other. We don't do it. We don't.
Wait, time out. We used to didn't do it.
Right.
Because we used to didn't touch each other at all.
Right.
You know, unless we were shaking hands. Now black men are becoming more, we hug more,
yeah.
we shake each other's hand, we give the shoulder and the chest and that.
No doubt.
And we're learning how to smile at each other when we
no doubt.
each other.
I smile all the time, but I do know as a black man that we don't smile a lot.
Yeah.
But that's what she said. So is that's what y'all do?
Yeah,
it's the smile, y'all?
I smile.
I thought it was like a thumbs up. So, like
so I want to say something for both of y'all. Everything is in our language. Mm-hmm. So when we say things like this what we don't do or this what we do, mm-hmm. and the other part to that is negative,
right?
We just continue to perpetuate the story, right? So even if I'm the only one doing something different,
right?
Black women don't do that.
Yeah.
That's it. I can be the only one that don't do it anymore.
Yo, black women don't do that.
Because I want us to speak into existence the thing that we want to see.
Right.
We want black men to smile at each other.
Right. We keep. All we do is say black men. You know, black men we smile at each other. That's mm-hmm. all.
Right.
I don't have to, there's no other part to that.
Right.
No, I got
smile
you. At each other, period.
So
now the pool party.
The pool party. Give us the rundown of the pool party.
Lord have mercy.
I think this is a dope idea though.
This
is a good one. This is a good one.
This is the girl genius. I'm trying to tell you, it's the girl genius.
It's a good one.
All right. So people know that all over the city. What people probably don't know is that in this city we have more pools per capita than any other major city like this, right? So we have a lot of pools in this city, free pools for the community to go to. However, over the years, for various reasons, pools have been closed, mm-hmm. right? Closing down because a lot of it is just because poor upkeep, maintenance, not getting done. Mm-hmm. One of the things, so I live in West Philly. And like I said, I am the president of the advisory council for Sayre Recreation Center. So that particular pool has been closed 7 years, right? Mm-hmm. So the community thought that the pool was closed because why would you close the pool?
Because something is like broke, something going on.
Something broke, right? Yeah. With what?
Something with the pool.
Something with the pool. That's what we thought. We thought something was wrong with the pool. Right. We started digging and realized, no. That's not why the pool was closed. So the pool was closed because the ceiling was falling into the pool, right?
Right.
So that means we needed a new roof.
Right.
So that was 7 years ago. Do you know how often you're supposed to get a new roof?
How often?
Every 10 years. So if 7 years ago you realized we needed a new roof, now we almost 10 years after that, we still don't have a new roof.
Right.
So now we at least 20 years that we ain't have a roof.
Now let me ask this. Is that something that's required by the city to do it, or that's just a maintenance thing where no matter who do it, but you just know that the roof need to be repaired?
So whoever owns the building. So Sarah's in a very unique position.
Here we go. Listen to this.
This is part of the reason that a lot of these pools are being closed. A lot of indoor pools. So I'm going to speak to indoor and then outdoor. So a lot of these indoor pools have been strategically been closing because the indoor pools that we have are owned by the school district. So the buildings the school district owns. Sayre Recreation Center is owned by, the building is owned by the school district of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Programming is done by Parks and Rec, which is the city. So now when you go to the table and you ask, can I get something done? Put your finger up. Exactly. That's what we go through. Oh, he's supposed to do it. You like, she's supposed to do it. And I'm like, well, no, it's him. And then, nope, it's her. And in the meantime, there are kids on the street dying.
Right, and ain't
kids
no
standing outside with bathing suits can't go swimming.
Y'all talking about it's a, because you told me this dope point. Y'all talking about it's a lifeguard shortage.
Oh yeah, so lifeguard shortage. You know, this gets me all excited. I don't make apologies for being excited though.
Right.
So Sayre was one of the main training centers for lifeguards in the city.
Say that again.
Okay. So Sayre was one of the main training centers for lifeguards in the city. So from South Philly to North Philly, they would come to Sayre in West Philly to get trained. So if you remember, I don't know if you remember the movie, some people might remember the movie Pride, which was about a coach in Philly who had a swim team. He started that at Sayre. That's where he started that, okay? When they focus on the movie, he's already in North Philly, but he started that at Sayre. So Sayre has so much history. You're talking about an Olympic-sized pool and a diving well in this building. This isn't just about... So when you think about swimming, it's not just about cooling off in the summertime. You're talking about opportunities for jobs. That's lifeguard, right? So that brings an economic element back into our community. So now kids... One that's at $16 to $18 an hour, not $9, right? So you have that. You have a safe space where you know kids are. You have kids learning how to swim or possibility for scholarship, right? You have this idea of learning how to swim is a life-saving technique. So 1 in 3 people die from accidental death. So that means when you try to go to the wreck and that pool is closed and instead you go to the creek, and because you don't know how to swim, when you trip over a rock and you do something and it's deeper than you thought it was, and you struggling because you don't know what you're doing, and you die because of that, that's that 1 in 3 accidental deaths. And the statistics show that those that are likely to be a part of an accidental death, they look like you.
Everything always.
Exactly. Set up. But these are the things that... So go back to the lifeguard shortage. If you have a main training center that has been closed for 7 years, which means this is an indoor pool, it's open all year round, giving kids an opportunity to learn how to swim. I can't just pop up today now because it's 2 weeks before summertime and now I can learn how to swim and be a lifeguard. Like, what are we talking about? So if for 7 years you strategically had these places closed, who was learning how to swim so that they could be a lifeguard now? Like,
and who's learning how to swim is like she said, the swimming is a life-saving technique.
We're scared of water in our communities.
And that, I know y'all might be like, oh, everything is a conspiracy. It's just another way for you to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just being honest with y'all. It's like at every level you see how this system works against you.
But if you doubt that if you are one of those people that say that everything is conspiracy, here go 2 things. First of all, the 15 pools that they're gonna close, get the list and find out where those pools at. I guarantee you won't find the majority of those pools in a majority white neighborhood. They're gonna be in our neighborhood first. Secondly, the people that learn how to be lifeguards and learn how to swim at that pool look like us. The majority of them, the overall majority, I'm talking about like 90% or more, look like young black children that learned how to swim there and became lifeguards there and were able to spread out in the city.
But who better to manage us? Who better to be in our communities than us, right? You know, as a lifeguard who will understand who we are, so they see that rough house and they're not going to think, oh, they about to kill each other. I remember the other day, my godson had got hit by a car and I was in the hospital with him, and they were like trying to fix his cast, and they were putting him through so much pain. He was screaming and hollering. He started hitting on doctors and everything, right? So I'm trying to pin him down, and the one nurse, she like holding him down, and he going like this. She was like, don't spit. I was like, ma'am, because they were trying to give him, put something in his nose to calm him down. So she thought he was getting ready to spit on her. I'm like, ma'am, he's trying to block his nose so you can't put nothing in it. So he's going like this because you got his hands. But there's an understanding I have, but there's a certain bias in her mind that when she sees a black boy, since he already went the hit, he now going to spit at her. Like that's the furthest thing from his mind. He's in pain, so he's responding to the pain. What does spit have to do with
But
it?
they don't believe we feel the same pain. Though.
No, but whatever.
That skin be too dark. So, like, when your skin be dark like that, you don't
Listen,
feel
you
no
don't feel
pain.
that.
You don't feel
But
nothing.
let me get to the party because I ain't get.
Get to the party.
Because I gotta tell you why.
Before you get to the party though, how do you break up the confusion between Park and Rec, and how do you do that?
So there's a couple ways, and I put all their business out, right? So school district is willing to give the pool. It's not just Sayre. So that's the thing. I'm talking about Sayre, and the pool party is at Sayre, but this is a citywide issue, right? So it's happening in Black and brown communities all across the city. So that's one thing. I don't want people to think it's just about Sayre. Oh, I don't live in West Philly. No, you live somewhere, and if we're not getting lifeguards trained, it's impacting. We see the impact it has on the entire city. It's not about West Philly. It's not about Sayre. So, Dad, what was your question?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec in a school district. So the school district does not want to be in the pool business. So they've been strategically and quietly closing pools that they own. So there's a pool. They recently closed Pickett, which is Mastery up at Germantown. They recently closed that pool. There's West Philly had Sayre, and they had the pool at 58th in Baltimore, which is now Motivation High School. So these are Olympic-sized pools that we had access to that we don't.
Turner.
Yes,
I
Turner.
used to go to Turner.
So they've strategically closed all of these pools, right? And on top of that, the rebuild money, which is the soda tax money that's been set aside to fix parks, recreation centers, and all of that, has finally started to move into effect, right? There's finally now, since COVID, because there was whatever. Now they're starting to address some of these issues. The problem is, so in order to fix something, what I got to do? I got to close it. So now, add to the list the ones that are being closed because we don't have lifeguards. Add to that now the list of the ones that we're fixing.
So they have to be closed.
So they got to be closed.
The whole rec center now, not just the pool.
Then the ones that just don't work. Period. So now we have all of these pools that our children don't have access to. Period. End of story. Like, but we stand up and we say, oh, we're going to do anything to stop this violence. Really? Are you willing to do anything? Because part of doing anything would be funding these programs, right? Funding these buildings, properly maintaining them in our community. Because the reality is, if I go to the far northeast, Lincoln is open. Lincoln High School, their indoor pool is open. It's been open. It has been open uninterrupted. However, these pools in Black and brown communities have been closed. Not because they're broken, but because they're in Black and brown communities.
And like you said, it's a variety of different things that come from it. Just something for them to do. Jobs. And you learning a skill set.
Yes.
Because swimming is really a skill set. And it's a life-saving skill set.
Definitely.
So I know somebody would hear the story and be like, pools ain't causing people. Just because we open a pool don't mean people ain't gonna die.
Yes, it does.
I got you.
Passion here.
No. He right. 100%. But one of the reasons why we don't directly talk about gun violence and we don't lead every show with that is because gun violence is a end result.
Exactly.
Of a bunch of maladies that was already happening.
Yes.
So not having places to go, not having housing, having a drug epidemic, having a housing crisis in the city and never talking about it. That leads to gun violence. Because a lot of these young folks don't have nowhere to be, period. So then we talking about not having nothing to do. A lot of the parks and the recs and the swimming pools and all of that. And these are other things that create jobs. And I don't see a lot of, because you closing a lot of these areas down and you just not opening them back up, whatever you were going to do with them next development-wise, if the city wanted to end violence, why don't we have more of these same young folks working on what we trying to do as far as with apprenticeships and stuff like that? You got all of these buildings being built. Everywhere you go in the city. Where are the young folks? Y'all can make money, put it aside.
Young folks, we're the black people, period.
Right. Yeah, listen.
Wait. Don't get started. Wait. Let me say this pool party because it's
my bad.
All right,
my fault, y'all.
Pool party. So what I decided,
June 14th.
June 14th, right? June 14th, next Tuesday, 4 to 6. And I'm calling it a pool party. I'm calling it the city's biggest pool party ever.
Hello.
Right? And I'm calling it a pool party because we are going to have an inflatable pool for every closed pool that they have in this city. And we're going to line the street up, right? I need them to get the visual of what summer is going to look like for Black and brown communities. It's going to be a bunch of pools with no water. Because that's the life we live in. That's the life you've created for us right here. So we're having a pool party, DJ, food, and a rally. So I need people to hear and understand what this really is about. This is a very crucial time. The city council is getting ready to finalize their budget. And so we are doing this to put pressure on council to fund properly. Not what we going to do with $4 million? $4 million not even enough to get a roof on that building. But fund properly and to hold the mayor accountable to what he said he was going to do with all this soda tax money, sir. Hello. So
it's Parks and Recs that's doing it. So listen, I know y'all got the bread.
I need to see some things. So at our pool party, we coming to make noise about pools all over the city, and that's why I want people to know it's a pool to represent everywhere in the city. Come represent your pool. Come get in this little kiddie pool because this is how it's going to look all summer long. Come stand with us.
June 14th.
June 14th.
4 o'clock.
Tuesday, 4 to 6. Just spread the word. If you
just
can't
bring
come,
your small
figure
pool.
It out.
Just bring a small pool. That's all you have to do.
Listen, bring your pool. We're going to have pools. Bring your pool.
And a chair.
Bring your chair.
Bring some folks with you. Try to bring,
that
I'm going to try to bring
that
like 4 people with me. That's going to
I think I got 4 people.
Yeah, exactly. I got 4 people in mind already.
And I need everybody to think about something. All of the money that the city, the state, and the feds have poured into the so-called gun violence, why was none of that money earmarked to address these issues? Because this is a phrase that we need to coin in our community, that these pools and recreation centers are the first line of defense against gun violence in our community. Because when those kids are up there and they're involved in sports and swimming and all that stuff and they're having fun, they're not on the street with idle minds. My grandmother used to tell me, boy, idle minds is the workshop of the devil. That's what we got, a lot of idle minds. And we see what happens with that.
No doubt. So, June 14th. Oh, y'all. How y'all gonna have a pool party during my show? And we don't know how to do the live.
We're going to figure that out, I promise you.
This a week. I don't know if I'm be how we do it live from the. I don't know how to do that yet.
Well, let's find somebody who does.
Okay. We're going to figure that out.
I'm gonna ask too.
Listen, the revolution will be televised.
Do the show from down there next Tuesday. That going to. We can talk about that as soon as we step over here with the brother right here, my man too. So, this is Philly Service announcement. PSA. Love, support, and grace. Takeover Tuesday. Social activism, resources, art. My sister, queen, my right-hand sister, Nick, she gonna be back. You know, she a queen, she a master, she a mom, she a wife. So, you know, if she missing in action, she got like 10 jobs as a woman.
Yes.
She's more than just one thing. So, I don't mind Nick not being here, but I need you here. I appreciate y'all coming, man. I always show the love, man. That's what we doing out here. Pool party, June 14th. Bring your pool.
4 to 6.
Revolutionary vision in the house.
Yeah.
And we gonna bring them back. We always bring people back because there's a lot more that they could tell us about. But the pool party was like, we need to be there. Yes. We gonna figure this out. Yes. We might be at the pool party next week.
We got 6 barbecues happening this summer.
Man, I'm trying to get back in shape. We
got healthy food.
All right, we out, y'all.